Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hapcast. I believe this is number 2. I am James.
I'm Marissa.
And so we're here for our second podcast. I'm happy to be with you guys again. I know it's been a while. We had a little bit of issues with finding a good sound recording and editing software. The one we was using turns out like it was just a trial run. We did not know that. It ended up running out. But we've got a new one now. We've got everything squared away. So hopefully we'll be able to start recording and uploading podcasts pretty regularly. So today we wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about, because it's June. It's the beginning of June now. And originally the second podcast we was going to try to do it starting in May, which in May 14th of 2016 was actually when we got married. And we ended up doing our honeymoon. And our honeymoon, we actually took a trip to Walt Disney World. And so we wanted to kind of tell everybody about our adventure and our little story about when we went to Disney World, talk a little bit about that. Now, what we're going to be doing is breaking it down into parts because we realized there's a lot to talk about and we could go on to talk about a lot of that stuff. And for each day, we was there for, I think, a total of at least 6 days, basically. We had 5 days we was in the parks, and then our first day and our last day, we hung out at the hotel.
Yeah, so almost a week.
Yeah, so about a week, about 7 days. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. So we're going to dive right in. We're going to start, I guess, from leaving off from the wedding. Yeah, starting off from the end of the wedding, we was helping clean up a little bit. You know, we didn't do a whole lot because everybody's like, oh, it's your wedding, just chill out. But we rode with my dad, so we didn't actually have our own car. So we waited around, hung out until the end of the cleaning up. Then we went back to our trailer. We went back home and took all of our wedding presents and all that stuff and opened that. We actually had a few gift cards for Disney World. Most of our family knew that we was going there for the honeymoon. And then we hung out there at our trailer for a while. We tried to get a little bit of sleep because our bus was leaving. About what time was our bus leaving?
No, I don't even remember. Honestly, I don't know. I don't remember.
Like, it was pretty early in the morning, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know we got up and we needed to get sleep because we was leaving pretty early in the morning. And I know we got up, went from there to my mom and dad's house. My mom and dad actually lived closer to the Greyhound, which was what we was taking to Florida. They lived closer to the Greyhound stop, and that way we'd have somebody to watch our car and stuff. So we left it in their driveway. Funny story about that. We'll get on that on another podcast. But so we went there, and we actually got there a little bit early so we could get all of our luggage and packed up stuff switched over to my parents' vehicle, which was a Jeep Liberty, I think they had. Jeep Liberty, Jeep Patriot, something like that. And we put all that stuff in there, and we tried to get a little more sleep. I gotta be honest with you, I couldn't hardly sleep. Like, I don't know if it was just nervousness, if it was just, excitement, a mix of everything.
I think I was just too excited.
Just too excited. So I think that was the biggest thing too, was just the excitement of it. Because, I didn't even sleep that much before the wedding. Like, I was just wide awake. But I struggled to get any kind of sleep in before the actual trip. And I told myself, oh, well, I'll just sleep on the bus. But I didn't realize that our bus trip was going to be quite so eventful and interesting. And that was a thing I was kind of nervous about too. Because me and you, I don't think either one had ever ridden on a Greyhound bus. Let alone alone, without parents or without family. And you hear a lot of really bad stories about Greyhounds, but it wasn't as bad as some of the stories that we've heard. Definitely still had some eventful stuff happen, some interesting things happen. But so back to the beginning, we're back starting, we'll get to all that stuff. So we was at my parents' and we got up. We went to the Dollar Tree, I think, actually, before we went there, didn't we? I remember we went to the Dollar Tree here in town because we wanted to have plenty of snacks to take with us, especially on the bus trip. Because, God, how long was the bus trip? It was a 13-hour trip, wasn't it?
It was too long.
It was a 13-hour bus trip. And so we knew it was going to be a while. We knew we didn't have a whole lot of money. So we wanted to make sure that we had enough stuff for snacks and anything like that. So went to the Dollar Tree, which is very handy. If you have a Dollar Tree, they're the best thing ever. Definitely recommend those. So we went there, and we got some snacks, and then we loaded everything up. We got ready to go. I think it was almost 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning that we had to get up and be ready to go. I do know it was at Burger King. It was like a Greyhound bus stop at the Burger King, and it was just dead silent. I know we actually got some Burger King food. Dad paid to get us some chicken nuggets and something to drink at Burger King. And we was waiting, and we was actually, there was an app or something on the phone or online where you could track the bus. And I know our bus was actually running late, I think, wasn't it? It was a little late.
It was just a little bit late, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing major, but it was about 10, 15 minutes late, I think. But I know we was panicking because we was already nervous and excited and all this mix of emotions as it was. But I remember we were definitely, it made me a little bit more nervous, it running late. I don't know why. It just added to, like, everything, my emotions going crazy. So it finally got there. We very nervously said goodbye to Dad, and we got on the bus, and I remember at first we wasn't able to get a seat together, which was kind of even more scary because it was so full. Yeah, my initial thoughts, I was just terrified. How was you feeling when we first got on?
You know me, because I don't like people as it is. And that one woman that's like sitting next to me, like she had her head right on my shoulder. I'm like, girl, I'm like, what are you doing? So I'm not your pillow, you know?
He's using you as a pillow. I don't remember who I sat next to. They were quiet, so it wasn't too bad. But we did get seats. You was right in front of me, and I was right behind you. We was both on that, like, aisle seats.
I was very annoyed. I don't like to be used as a pillow.
Well, you know. You were probably softer than the window. She probably just thought you were softer than the window to lay on. But I think at our first stop, and I don't know where our first stop was. I think it was in Tennessee, wasn't it? That was our very first stop. I think it was in Knoxville, Tennessee, or it might have been Nashville. I don't know. It was in Tennessee somewhere. And we actually had to get off the bus. Like, they made everybody get off the bus because there was like a few minute kind of like layover. It wasn't like a big layover, like an official layover. But they're like, we're going to be here for a few minutes. Go use the bathroom, stretch your legs, whatever you got to do. And I remember when we got back on the bus, that time we were able to get a seat together. We made sure to get on before anybody else so we could sit together. Plus, there was a lot of people got off at that stop, so there was more room on the bus. But for the most part, I feel like the trip down was pretty, for the most part during, because it was, you know, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I think that first little while it was pretty quiet, wasn't it? Like, I don't remember much happening.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet. I mean, there's nothing really else to it.
It was just a lot of trying to sleep but not actually being able to sleep. Like, that was our biggest thing, was just trying to actually, like, get rest, because we knew we wanted to have energy for when we got to the park. But there wasn't much sleeping to it because it was just so
uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable, and it was, again, like I said before, you know, you hear all these terrible stories about things happening on Greyhounds and people getting hurt or people causing scenes and stuff. Nothing that bad happened or that serious happened, but at the time, again, it was our first time ever being on a bus, ever leaving home, just the two of us without family and stuff. And it was a very scary situation, you know. And it was something new. Like, part of it was exciting because we were doing something new, branching out. And we knew we was going to Disneyworld, which was exciting. But it was also very scary because it's something we'd never done. It was a new experience for us. That was all good. I know our first kind of big layover, but where it was supposed to be a big layover, but it turned out not being, was in Atlanta, Georgia. I remember when we went to Atlanta, and again, you hear a lot of things about Atlanta too, you know, that it's really dangerous city, that there's a lot of stuff goes on there. I will say, when we were actually driving like into Atlanta, like that bridge, like, you know, if there's any fans of The Walking Dead out there and you've seen the scene in the first season when Rick is actually walking to Atlanta on the horse, or riding to Atlanta on the horse on that big overpass, and you see the city like in the background or whatever, like when our bus was taking that same route and you see the city in that was breathtaking. I will say that was a really breathtaking experience. Like, I like cities. I'm afraid of big cities because obviously, you know, there's the whole fear of more crime and more kind of dangerous stuff. It's more dangerous in big cities. But from an architectural standpoint and from like an artistic standpoint, like, I love like city outlines and like the looks of big cities. And so pulling like on that road to Atlanta and seeing it was breathtaking for me. I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
So we were supposed to have quite a long delay in Atlanta layover. We were supposed to have like an hour layover, I think, because we were switching buses. We was changing from our bus to a different bus. So we had to get our luggage, and we were supposed to wait inside for like an hour to 2 hours, I think, before our other bus got there. But two factors. Where our bus was actually running a little bit late. Our bus was, I think, like 15 to 20 minutes late on schedule. And the other bus that we were switching to was actually ahead of schedule. They were actually running 20 to 30 minutes early. So we ended up, like, as soon as we got there, we waited like maybe 10 minutes. And then they're like, okay, you're ready to go ahead and go get on the new bus. And we're like, well, what? Well, I mean, we wasn't complaining because, you know, the less time we have to spend in layover, the better. The sooner we can make up more time and make it to the parks, the better. So there was definitely that. That was a good thing. And we got on there, and it was daytime by this point. The sun had come up, and it was pretty nice. It was before we got to Atlanta, I think, where, now I'm backtracking. I'm sorry for backtracking. But yeah, it was before we got to Atlanta, I remember now, was when we had the whole deal that happened outside of the bus. You remember that?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that? You want to tell them about that story?
Are you talking about the one?
Your perspective on that story?
Are you talking about the one with the luggage?
Yeah.
I thought that was coming back home.
No. That was on the way there.
Oh.
Yeah. That was right before we got to Atlanta.
Well, I mean, because I was the one near the window.
So you've probably seen it a lot better than I did.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it wasn't scary or anything, but...
It scared me because I wasn't near the window. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know until too late.
I like watching drama.
This is true.
That's my thing. I like watching drama. But anyway, I don't know. I guess he lost his luggage or something. The bus driver just like, well, I'm sorry, you know, you lost it, whatever. And then he was like cussing at him and everything. Like, I don't remember what he said, but
I couldn't hear him hardly. All I knew was I seen everybody else like immediately draw their attention to the windows. Because again, I'm in the aisle seat. I'm on the inside seat. So all I hear is everybody looking to the windows, and I'm like, what's going on? And I hear like I hear talking and commotion going on outside, and I see the bus driver standing out there with some young guy, and like the dude was getting up in his face, in the bus driver's face. He's like, well, I don't know what he was saying. He's saying something like, what am I supposed to do? Or I need this. I guess, like you said, he lost his luggage, and like he kind of got right up on the bus driver, and the bus driver's like, son, I need you to calm down. We will do what we can, but right now there's nothing I can do. I need you to step away. And the guy's like, well, then just let me back on the bus. And he's like, once you get off the bus at your stop, you're not allowed to back on the bus. I can't just let you back on the bus. And the guy was trying to get around the bus driver to get back on the bus, and the bus driver was kind of holding him off with one hand. And I guess that one of that guy's friends or cousins or family members was there to pick him up, and that guy came over, and he just kind of threw his hands up in the air and went with his family member. They went ahead and left. And the bus driver got back on the bus, closed the door. I don't think he even said anything to us, and then just took off and started driving.
yeah, I don't think he was too happy at that point, which I wouldn't be either, because...
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get it. I mean, I get both sides. If something happened with your luggage and stuff, that's awful. I hate that. That's one of the things I was nervous about with our luggage, was I was so nervous, what if something happens to it, you know, or somebody takes it. But at the same time, I understand the bus driver has a certain set of procedures and rules he has to follow. So it was kind of one of those things. But it was just scary because it looked like a big conflict. I hate conflict. I'm the exact opposite of you. I don't like drama. I don't like conflict. It scares me. I get scared. So I was definitely way, like in all these stories that you've heard about Greyhound buses just came flooding back. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? But it wasn't that bad. You know, like I said, looking back, and especially, you know, that was like the only real thing that happened, I think. I don't think anything else really happened major like that on the bus right there. I know we stopped at one point. I know they always said, and even when we stopped there, the bus driver and people had told us, you know, if you stop at like an actual gas station, because some of the stops were at like not so populated areas and like kind of gas stations kind of out on their own and stuff. And I know we stopped at one. There was this group of guys that like started kind of following us back to the bus. We went in to get something to drink and use the bathroom, and on our way back out, like they started trying to talk to us, trying to ask us for money and stuff. And I remember like, because again, you know, the general rule is, you know, you just don't make eye contact. You just keep walking and like the bus driver told us, you know, if somebody tries to do it, just walk as quickly as you can. Don't run. Just walk at a quick pace and just get back to the bus, you know, and get on the bus. And that's what we did. But those guys followed us all the way back to the bus. And the closer we got to the bus, the angrier they got, demanding something from us, you know. And we were kind of like, that was kind of scary. But I mean, we got on the bus, no harm, and got back in our seats. And the rest of the trip was pretty good. I feel like I don't think there was really anything else major that happened on the bus ride to Florida. A lot of nice scenery and a lot of nice sights. Again, sleep was kind of in and out. Like I'd fall asleep for maybe 20, 30 minutes and I'd wake back up and be like, oh, where are we now? How close are we now? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was the same way.
Same way. So then came the fun part. The beginning of the fun part. So we got to the bus station, and I remember because Disney World doesn't actually have a pickup for the Greyhound bus station. They have a pickup that goes to the airport, but not for the Greyhound bus.
I wish they would, though, because there are some people like us took the Greyhound bus.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would definitely suggest or recommend for Disney. That would maybe be a good idea, is to maybe have like a delivery service, transport service that also goes to like the bus stations, or like especially the Greyhound station. Because again, I get the airport, they send that bus to the airport that picks people up, which is great, that's phenomenal. But again, there's a lot of people that may be coming by bus. It's not such like it wasn't like a major deal breaker having to find transportation from the Greyhound station to Disney World, but it is something that I think would be a big benefit to them if they could find a way to like budget in a bus that goes to the Greyhound station and back to pick people up. Yeah, I think they should. While we were there, it was pretty nice little bus station. It wasn't so bad. It was not trying to like downplay anything, but it was. I think the one in Orlando was a lot better than some of the others that we stopped at. They had a little food court area. They had bathrooms. They had like a little arcade area. They had plenty of seating, plenty of plug-ins for like chargers and stuff. He's going to have you waiting there for a while. And luckily, when we got there, I don't think we had to wait too long because I had pre-ordered and prepaid for a car service.
It's like an Uber, almost.
Yeah, kind of like an Uber. Like it's like a pickup thing. And there's an actual name for it, and I don't remember the name. I think it's Orlando Shuttle Service, I believe is the name. I hope that is the name, but I want to say Orlando Shuttle Service is what it was called. I wished I could remember the actual name because they were great, and they definitely deserve a shout out. Really appreciated it. Really enjoyed it. It wasn't that bad of a price. I don't remember, again, all the details. But I do remember the actual service was phenomenal. The driver texted me when he got there. He said he was outside and asked if we had made it off the bus yet. And I said we had. I said we just need to get our luggage and we'd be right out there. I asked how we would know which one was him, and he said he was driving a black Escalade, maybe.
I don't know anything about cars.
He said he was driving a black vehicle. He said that we would know which one was him. And I'm thinking, well, that's real specific. Thanks a lot. What I didn't expect was to get the full-on, like, limo treatment almost. So we come outside, and there's a really nice-looking black car, and there's a man standing there in a suit and tie with a sign that says none on it, like we're being picked up for, like, a limo service, like we're famous. I mean, it was, again, you got to remember, we had never done anything like this before. We never went anywhere like that. We'd never done this kind of trip, especially just the two of us without family and all this. And we were both so tired, so road lagged and road weary and just travel weary from this Greyhound, 13-hour Greyhound trip. And even the day before we got on this Greyhound trip, we had the wedding. The day before the wedding was the wedding rehearsal. So we had been going and been through 3 days of just nonstop. So we were just so tired and wore out, and we were kind of dreading the car service, the car rental, because a lot of times that stuff goes bad. So again, I'm just like, oh gosh. And then the way he texted me, he's like, oh, well, you'll know which one's me. And I'm like, oh gosh. Oh no. I'm like, we just got more of this. I'm like, can we just get to the hotel? But we come out, and the dude's standing there, big smile on his face, holding a sign that has our name on it. We're like, oh wow, this is cool. We go up to him, we're like, oh yeah, we're the nuns. And I showed him, I think the ticket I'd printed off my ticket papers, and he seen it and scanned all that stuff. And he's like, okay, thanks. And he said, well, and he just took our luggage right from us. He got it for us, and
opened our doors.
He opened both of our doors. He opened your door, and then ran around before I could even get to mine and opened my door and closed both of our doors for us. We got in. The car felt so comfortable. It was really nice cushion seats, air conditioning going. Yeah, because it's Orlando. So, again, it was pretty humid, pretty muggy. And it had the AC going, which felt great. And then turns around and offers us both complimentary bottle of water, which was really nice. It was unopened, fresh water. Tasted great cold water, especially after being on the bus all day and stuff. And the ride went pretty smooth. He was friendly. He didn't talk a whole lot, which I guess, is probably is like some kind of guidelines they have to follow. He didn't talk a whole big lot, but he talked a little bit. He was friendly. Whenever we said something, he would respond in kind. It's a beautiful drive. We wasn't far from the Disney resorts and stuff, but we still got a nice little bit of drive. I think we passed SeaWorld and some other big Orlando things like that we could see off in the distance or see out the windows, which was nice. And again, for us being, touristy and traveling and stuff, it was a really nice experience getting to see the city and stuff. Then we pulled into the actual area, the actual like road that connects all of Disney World and stuff, the actual portion of Florida. It's almost like a whole nother town and state when you pull into the actual Disney World place. Like, you feel like you're disconnected from the rest of the world and the rest of the state because it does look so different, feels so different, and all their roads connect within that one little, what's not little, is that one big area. But yeah, it was amazing. Like, I remember when we first pulled into there.
Yeah, like all the stress just lifted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is it. It's the beginning of our honeymoon.
Yeah, that's when it felt like things legit started. That's when it felt... People always say Disney World is magic. It's the most magical place in the world. It's the happiest place in the world. I'd never been to Disney World, like, ever. I'd never been to any of the Disney parks. You had been, but it was a long time ago. It was when you was a kid, right?
It was for my sister's graduation thing. And I was like in 8th grade. No, I think I was a freshman at that time. I remember because I was a freshman, my sister was a senior, and she would take me to school with, like, in her car and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was for her graduation present type thing, and she wanted to go to Disney. So we only been to Magic Kingdom. That was it for like a day. And then I think after that we went to Disney Springs, and we did like the campsite thing, which was... It was fun, but I'm not a camp person. I don't like outdoors. I don't like it. I mean, if I had an RV, then yeah.
So our time going, it was kind of a new experience for you too. Like I said, you had been there, but you was younger. You guys only got to go to Magic Kingdom and Disney Springs, and even then, you guys didn't get to stay real long, and you guys stayed at a campsite. So this was still a lot of new experiences for even you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was different than whenever I first went.
Well, and I'd say they had changed a lot and built a lot of new stuff
too. They did, because
yeah.
I remember the Snow White Scary Adventures. They had that there. But whenever we went to our honeymoon, they didn't have it, which I was really sad about.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is magical. I know from the time we pulled onto the property, the official Disney World property, the road, wasn't even at the hotel yet, hadn't actually gotten anywhere yet, but just from the time that we pulled off the road and pulled onto the road that would take us to the hotel that was Disney property, it did feel magical. It felt like you had just entered a whole new world. Expression there. It did feel that way, though. It honestly was amazing. And we stayed at the Pop Century Resort, which was a lovely resort. I was a little bit worried about the resort. Not as much as like the other things, because either way, it's Disney World and it looked amazing. But I knew it was the cheaper resort. Again, we didn't have a whole lot of money to be able to spend to get to go visit one of the nicer resorts, which we definitely want to eventually do. We'd like to try to get a chance to go stay at some of the nice resorts. But we did get to go to Pop Century, and it was a cheaper resort, which maybe I was like, I don't know if I like it as much as I would if we could have went to one of the other ones. We loved it. Honestly, even for being a cheaper resort, you wouldn't know it, because it was an incredible place. When you first come in the doors, I know the front doors are there. They got the big sign that says Pop. The whole point of Pop Century is it's based on throughout the years. It ranges from, I think, the 50s to the 90s.
Yeah.
Along the wall, in the lobby wall, on the one side you've got the desks where you check in and get all your stuff done. On the opposite wall of that, they have like a timeline grid that goes up on the very top of the wall telling you what year is what from 1950 all the way to 1999. It has all this memorabilia. They have these big glass cases with all these different memorabilia and things from that era. Like, I think in the 70s or 80s, they had like posters of Star Wars and had little Star Wars toys. They also, in like the 60s and 70s, I think they had like the roller skates and the disco ball stuff. in the 90s, they had like Tamagotchis and Power Ranger toys and Pokemon cards. And they have all them displayed throughout the years and telling you what year it was, and it's just awesome. Super for fans. We are big fans of different timelines and time throughout history and stuff and culture, and it was really cool to see all that. The help desk was really nice. I know when you're staying there, you can actually do a early check-in, so you can go ahead and get things, kind of let them know. I'd done all that, but you still got to go to the desk to figure out what your actual room is, because I don't think we knew what our room was yet, or where we were staying. You can reserve it. You can actually pick, but we wasn't too worried about doing all that. So we went and checked in, which he was very friendly. We told him that we was there for our honeymoon, and we got 2 pins, one for our honeymoon. We each got one for our being on our honeymoon. And I think it said happily ever after, and it had like the carriage from Cinderella on it. Mm-hmm. It was really nice, but it's like a button pin. And then we got one for it being our first time, and I think it just says for the first time. And
like first trip.
First trip, yeah, and it has a picture of Mickey on it, and it was orange, and the other one was purple, but they're big buttons, and it was awesome. And they said make sure you wear these, because sometimes if some of the cast members see that, or some places if they see that it's your first time or that it's your honeymoon, you can get a little extra perks. Sometimes they may give you stuff, a little extra stuff, which is great, and it did end up helping us out in the long run. It actually, and we'll get to those stories when we get more into talking about our park visits each day. Of the park visits, we can tell you guys more about that. Where did we go next after that? Did we go straight to the room? I think we did, because of the luggage.
Yeah, we went straight to the room and put our luggage in there. Then we went to the food court because we were starving. What did we get?
So after the room, and again, we didn't really take time to look at anything. We wanted to be able to really enjoy ourselves and be able to look at all the decorations. So we went straight to the room because we were tired. We were starving. Our feet were sore. Even sitting on a Greyhound bus all day, our feet and legs and everything was super sore. So we did make a beeline straight to the room, which still, even just the walk there was really nice. But it was already getting kind of dark. I think it wasn't actually nighttime yet when we first got there.
But it was getting to that point.
It was about 6, 7 o'clock, I think we got there in the afternoon. So it was like sunset, kind of. And by the time, and we went to the room was super nice, actually. The room was big.
And this was before they
remodeled it.
Yeah.
Because I know they did a remodel last year of all the rooms. But even then, even before the remodel,
it was still nice.
Nice room.
But I hated the carpet, though.
Yeah, the carpet was a little much, and we're neither one real big fans of carpet. I know back growing up, my stepmom was really big on hardwood floors and having like tile floors and hardwood floors in the house. And growing up with that, it definitely, I realize now that I'm older after I moved out, and in our trailer we have carpet in certain areas, and I miss the hardwood and tiles so much. So much easier to clean, so much easier to deal with. And like, I'm not knocking carpet. Like, I'm not like, there's certain things.
I'm knocking it.
Yeah, but it's just, there's so much more hassle for me to carpet. But other than that, the room was super nice. The beds was so comfy. I was a little bit worried about the beds, but they were super comfy. The bathroom was huge, had cute little Mickey bottles, had little Mickey ears on it for shampoo and toiletries. Had plenty of towels and wash rags, had a nice sink, had a nice little mini fridge. We had a couple bottles of water left from our bus trip, and we put those in the mini fridge. Had a nice big TV, a nice big dresser thing. Yeah, it was really nice. Also, I should point out, we stayed in the 80s section. So in the resort, they have a 50s hotel room building, a 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So I think it's 5. They have 5 actual big buildings that are themed based on the decade they were, and they all have rooms. It's all different rooms. So we stayed in the 80s section. Now with it, our room was on the second floor, second or third floor actually. To get to the room, they have elevators, but we're not real big elevator fans. Plus, the staircases for each themed building is based on that decade. For instance, we stayed in the 80s. So our staircase, it was a spiral staircase that was built inside of a giant Rubik's Cube.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. It was so cool. So freaking cool. And the outside of the building had little, like, I don't know what you would call that, like wall hangings type things, like built on the wall, little accents or extensions that was made to look like Pac-Man. It was made to look like a big Pac-Man board.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
yeah, so we have the 80. It looks we was in the 80s one. On the inside of the room, they actually had a picture of Little Mermaid. It was like a whole Little Mermaid thing from the 80s, which is interesting because I know that's one of your favorite Disney movies, but I didn't even know it was from the 80s. I thought it was 90s.
No, it was close to like 88, 89.
So it was right there on the bridge. So after we got our stuff in the room, we unloaded some of our luggage and stuff, took a few pictures of the room to kind of show off and stuff. And the first thing we did once we was in there was actually let everybody know we made it.
Mm-hmm.
We called Mom and Dad, and let them know, hey, we're here, we've made it. I mean, we've been updating them on the trip also, but definitely since we was finally there at the actual resort, and we straight up told them, we're like, look, we're starving, so we're going to go get something to eat. So we left the hotel room. Also, the thing I should bring up too is when you get to, or before you even go on the trip, Disney World, if you're staying at the resort, they give you the magic bands. Love the magic bands.
Those are so handy. Like, oh my gosh. I wish they had that whenever I first went to Disney, but they didn't. But I'm glad that they did whenever we went to our honeymoon. So
it was so awesome because your magic band works as your door key. Like, you hold it up to the little scanner.
So that way you don't have to, like, fiddle with the keys and
fiddle
stuff.
with a card or anything like that. And it makes you feel more kind of secure and safe because only your magic band
can open the door.
Other than, like, maids and stuff. I guess
but that's about it, though. So that, to me...
It makes you feel safer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did me, too. It made me feel safer about my stuff. And so we went to the food court, which was really cool. I love the food court. They got 3 big seating areas with TVs going, playing Disney cartoons. They just constant loops of different Disney cartoons.
They played Mrs. Doubtfire a lot.
Yeah, but that was on the actual TV channel.
Yeah.
In the cafeteria, they played a lot of the Disney cartoons. They had, 3, 4 different actual food windows that you could go up to?
There was, at least 4.
At least 4 different places that you could go up in line and get food. And each one had different stuff. There's one that sold mainly pizza. One sold, mainly burgers. One sold, roasted chicken breast and stuff. Again, we were trying to be kind of conscious of money. And we were just hungry. So we went to the burger one. And I remember they had different, themed burgers. You ended up getting, I believe it was called the Benedict burger.
Yeah, that's one with the egg on top of it. And oh my lord, that's so good.
It looked amazing.
I'm sweating. Oh, I want that again.
You got the food sweats. So you have the Benedict burger, which is one has egg on top, and then you got your hamburger and your fixings and stuff. And then I think it came with fries, and we got us a drink. Got us a fountain drink, and then mine I got It was like the 4th of July burger or the American ballpark burger or something like that. Some kind of American-y 4th of July themed summertime burger thing. And it had the burger, it had sliced in the middle hot dogs, smoked and grilled hot dogs, and then sauerkraut on top. I don't like sauerkraut, so I actually asked to leave that off, but I got it with the hot dogs and the burger and then ketchup, mustard, and pickles and everything.
See, that sounds good, but I cannot eat hot dogs. Because you know this, it kills my stomach. It makes me so sick, and I don't know why. Because I do like hot dogs, but they don't like me, so, I mean.
I definitely understand. Like I said, it is one of those things, but we absolutely loved it. Now there is, definitely one thing I will say is, I wish I would have took more pictures. I wish I would have took pictures of the burgers and some of the food and stuff.
It was our first time.
And yeah,
we were too excited.
Our first time,
we were starving.
Yeah, we were excited. Like I said, there'll be definitely a lot of pictures playing in the video. We are definitely wanting to go back to Disney World. And when we do, I'm definitely going to try to take more pictures for you guys and for everybody. And so we can have more video and pictures. We're definitely going to try to make sure to recapture more of that. So keep that in mind that we are definitely planning on something like that, so that way we can kind of have more stuff to share with you guys, our fans and the audience.
We're going to try to go at least every year.
We'd like to start going every year. Yeah, we don't know exactly when that's going to start. It's just going to take a little bit of working and figuring out money and stuff. But once we do, we're definitely going to be doing that. Anybody who wants to support, throw some money our way, throw us a Disney trip our way, and we'll be sure to give you a shout out and
make it rain up in here.
Yeah, we'll definitely be sure to give you a shout out and make sure to get plenty of footage and pictures and more conversation to bring back. But so we got our food. So back to the hotel, we got our food. We ate it. It was delicious. They were playing. I don't know what cartoon they were playing that first night. I know they liked playing the Disney sing-alongs a lot, but I don't remember if they were that first night. But I know they was the next day.
I'm not for sure because whenever we went that first night, I was just too.
Yeah, we were.
I was too focused on the food. I was like, I just want to eat.
We were pretty out of it. We were tired and hungry. So we ate, and then we kind of looked around a little bit, not too much. Again, we were super tired. We went out. I know outside of the building on the way to our room, they have like the big statues. One says 70s, one says 80s, one says 90s. They got 50s and 60s, these big statues of the numbers and stuff, which is really cool. We looked around a little bit. We didn't do a whole lot of resort exploring until the next day, but we did a little bit of exploring. Within the Pop Century Resort, there's 3 different pools. There's the Hippy Dippy pool, which is shaped like a flower. They have the pool near the 50s and 60s. It's shaped like a bowling pin. And then over in between the 80s and 90s, they have a pool that's shaped like a computer monitor.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have a walking track around Hourglass Lake, which is like a 1 mile walking track. We didn't actually do that. We was going to, but we were so pressed for time that we wanted to spend as much time in the parks as we could. So we didn't do as much around the resort as we would have liked to. But we definitely looked around. Now, in the 50s, the stairwell, I always get the 50s and 60s confused. I believe it's the 50s stairwells are the bowling pins.
Yeah, I think that was the 50s.
And then the 60s stairwell is inside of a yo-yo. Those may be the other way around. It might be 50s yo-yo, 60s bowling pin.
It might be.
But one of them, the stairwell's in a bowling pin. The other one, it's in a yo-yo, which is really cool too. The 70s, the stairwell is behind a giant 8-track. And it actually has like little art on the front, and on the back it has the playlist of what songs are on the 8-track.
It's very detailed though. I mean, I'm impressed, you know?
Yeah, they paid a lot of attention. They all had different little stuff and little sayings on the outsides of them. Like I think the 70s had like in big fonts says groovy on the building. When you cut past like going through where the 70s part is, like to go around to like where Hourglass Lake or the 80s and 90s is, if you go one way, there's actually a spot where they have like giant twister, like big outdoor twister. They also have a giant Mickey phone, like the old Mickey phones. They have a giant Big Wheels tricycle, and they have a giant foosball like court thing.
It was huge.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. Again, so much detail, so much oriented. Now I will say, and then when you get to that other side, right near Hourglass Lake and the walking track, around the walking track, they have little signs that have little trivia from different decades and different information.
We have a couple of pictures of those.
Mm-hmm. The different pop culture stuff. And then over there near that, they have a giant statues of Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, which we took some pictures with and definitely enjoyed that.
Which, again, you guys are going to see all that
within
this podcast.
Yeah. We're going to be showing you all that. So we definitely got to see the giant Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, which was cool. We love that. We're big fans of Toy Story and the Potato Heads. And I used to have a Mr. Potato Head as a kid, the actual toy, which was pretty neat. I remember it, very nostalgic. And then, again, we went onto the room, which, again, was nice. It was getting late. It's getting dark out. I mean, the place, they keep it pretty well lit up and things pretty happening. I think it was like, I mean, I say late. It was actually like 8 or 9 o'clock. But for us,
that's
again,
late.
the past 3 days being nonstop, we were swamped.
Yeah.
So went to our room. I think we went ahead and grabbed a shower because we were both sweaty and tired and been on the bus all day. So we grabbed a shower and then got in bed. And again, like the beds were super comfy. The bathroom was nice. They played a lot of this. Like they had one channel that played a lot of Disney cartoons. And then they had a channel. They had some other channels. I know the biggest things we watched, like you said before, Mrs. Doubtfire was definitely huge. Like that, they played it a lot. And they played, was it My Cousin Vinny? They played
that one a lot, which is a random movie, which I liked it, but I'm just like,
I hadn't thought of My Cousin Vinny in years. I hadn't seen it, heard about it, nothing in years. They played it. They played Mrs. Doubtfire. I think they played Men in Black one night.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
Again, another random movie. I'm just like,
yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I don't know which ones we watched which night, but I know through the nights that we were there, we watched all of those at least once, if not some of them more than once.
And I remember, like, there was a mini short of, like, Goofy as a zombie, And I'm just like, what?
It was one of the
heck?
newer cartoons. It was crazy. So different than what we grew up on.
I was like, Goofy, you okay, buddy?
There was one where, like, Goofy or Pluto or somebody was trying to kill the other one because they wanted to be in the dog show. You remember that?
Yeah, that was
like,
messed up. I was like...
so weird. I mean, like, I'm not hating it. It was definitely entertaining, but so different than the cartoons we grew up with.
Yeah, it's really different.
The new ones are way different. Now, I did like they had a little short about safety that had Timon and Pumbaa, and it was like buckling up when you're
That
driving.
was cute. That was adorable.
Yeah, I loved that one. So from there, we ended up going to sleep and getting some rest. So then the next morning was our next day, which I'm not going to go into all the details for the park yet because we're saving that for part 2 to this, which will be Magic Kingdom Day 1. But I will go ahead and catch you guys up on some more stuff about the resort when we woke up. We did a little bit more walking around, exploring, looking at the pools and stuff. And we went to the cafeteria for breakfast. We ended up getting... Or no, we didn't eat breakfast there yet. I remember we ate breakfast at the actual resort. I think we just snacked for breakfast. There was one day that we ate at the resort for breakfast, but it wasn't that day. Because I remember we ended up getting something at Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland for breakfast. We got something sweet.
Was it a Sunday?
Yes. So we'll get to that one on the next one. We'll tell you about our breakfast at Magic Kingdom. But what we did do is we got up, we got dressed, got ourselves ready, got our sunscreen on, got all tourist mode, ready to go enjoy the park. We were super excited, rested, we slept really good, got plenty of rest. We got up early because you want to get to the parks early before the lines and stuff get long. And again, it was our first time. We wanted to get as much experience and much time in as we could. I think we did look around a little bit more at the resort then, though, because we was waiting on the buses and stuff to get there. The bus line wasn't long. The bus ride wasn't terrible. I know they have a really nice gift shop at Pop Century. The gift store in there in the resort was really nice. We looked around there. They had a lot of really cool stuff. So then we stood in line. They have a section off for which bus takes you where in Disney World. And we stood in line for Magic Kingdom, which was our first day. We had our fast passes set up for that. The extra magic hours for then was set for Monday. And that will be covered in part 2. So going off of the Disney portion of the podcast and the honeymoon portion, I just want to use this time at the end of the video here to give you guys a few updates about the channel and about the videos and some updates about us. So I know we've been kind of inconsistent with the uploads like we wanted to be. We've had a lot going on. We did some traveling to visit family and stuff. We've had a lot going on and had some issues at home and stuff, some personal issues, but we are trying to get back on track. We're definitely dedicated to you guys and dedicated to putting out content and all different kinds of content. And we know that we've gotten a lot of really good response to the podcast. So we definitely are hoping to keep this going because we've gotten a lot of love and support and a lot of really good feedback on the podcast itself. I definitely know there's a lot of people like the other videos too, but we are going to try to actually get a podcast up as much as possible. Now, I will say, for those of you who may not even know that we have other videos, or for those that watch the other videos that don't watch the podcast, so we do have a couple different things going that I wanted to go over with you guys. So I'm actually going to bring up a little bit of information here for us and be able to go over it with you and let you guys know what the new goings-on are. The new happenings, no pun intended. So
it's very intended to listen to him. It's very intended.
So we've got the Hapcast, which is the podcast. We're definitely planning on continuing that. We have something called Hap Vlog, and that's going to be like little home vlogs that we're going to be, like, if it's stuff that we do around the house, little extra stuff, little home vlogs, you guys can kind of get a peek into our lives, and getting to know us a little more. We also have a new playlist. It's called Hap Ventures, which is our travel vlogs. That's going to be for, like, for instance, our first one we uploaded, we went to visit my family up north here in Kentucky, up in Florence, Kentucky. We went to visit and have a good time, hang out with them a little bit. We got a little bit of footage. I didn't get as much as I wanted. There was quite a bit more that I wanted to shoot and film and take pictures of. I got carried away, got sidetracked, and didn't even think about it again. We was visiting, and I just completely slipped my mind. But we are going to get better about it. But we do have one of the footage and pictures that I did get while we were up there. But we are definitely going to be doing more Hap Ventures and travel vlogs. Especially, for instance, when we are able to go back to Disney World that'll be in the Hap Ventures. We'll definitely be uploading some good travel vlogs out of that. Our other playlist we started is called The Red Umbrella. And now the Red Umbrella is going to be any of our food-related videos, such as cooking videos. I'm going to do like little cooking tutorials and let you guys watch me as I'm cooking different stuff. And we're going to be doing taste test videos. We've got one taste test video up already, so you guys can go and check that out under the Red Umbrella playlist. And then the other thing we've got right now that we're going to be running videos on is Epic Arcade. And Epic Arcade is going to be any of our video game videos, whether it's like Let's Plays or Let's Watches, and like stuff where you can catch us and check us out while we're playing different video games. We're going to try to do some new games, do some retro games, do some funny little sketches and stuff. So just stuff so you guys can kind of get a good look at all that and understanding of that. So that's some of the stuff we got working. Definitely go check out those playlists. Definitely let everybody know about all that and let them know about that playlist and about the different videos, and get the word out there. If you like the podcast, if you like us, definitely try to get the word out there. I know this video was a shorter one, or this podcast was a shorter one. The other podcasts we do for Disney World will probably be a little bit longer because there was definitely more stuff we did while we were at the park, more to talk about and go over. The first day, again, it was mainly the Greyhound bus ride up there and the actual hotel portion. So,
You guys hear that rain? Oh, we
yeah,
do.
I don't know if you can hear that. It is a pouring here.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's kind of like Florida weather followed us home.
Yeah.
But it's felt that way for the past 2 years since we came home. It's kind of felt crazy. But yeah, so we definitely enjoy all the support. So like, subscribe, comment, share. There's definitely all kinds of cool stuff on the Facebook. I should also mention on the Facebook page for Hayden Allen Productions. I have started a new thing I'm going to be doing every day, or almost every day, maybe every other day. It's going to be called the Random Question of the Day, or RQOTD. And I'm just going to, it's a way of interacting with you guys, with the fans, with the audience, a way of you guys interacting with us, all of us getting to know each other a little bit. And I'm just going to ask random questions and try to get everybody's views on stuff. The first random question of the day is up now. I think I uploaded it yesterday or the day before that. And we've already got a few people comment on there. Just comment on there, and every now and then we'll give a shout out and read some of those random questions of the day. Probably at the end of every week, I'll go back and review some of those, and we'll pick some of our favorite top answers. So there's going to be that. Again, also for the Facebook page, or even on YouTube. On the YouTube channel, on the Facebook page. You can also find us on Instagram. I believe we have a Twitter account as well.
Yeah,
Do we have Twitter?
Yeah, we have Twitter. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
YouTube, and then an email. And so any questions, comments, anything you guys would like to let us know, we would love to hear from you guys. Definitely give us a shout out. Again, I think Instagram and Facebook and maybe even Twitter is just all under Hap Productions or Hayden Allen Productions.
It's Hayden Allen Productions, about every single social media
on all the social
platform.
media. You should be able to find us under Hayden Allen Productions on all of those. And I think the email address is actually happroductions@outlook.com. But it will be on the Facebook and LinkedIn with YouTube videos. So again, you can definitely get up with us and comment. Give us a shout out. Tell us about your Disney. If you guys have been to Disney World, any Disney memories, favorite Disney things, just give us a heads up. Let us know about your guys' adventures, and maybe we can discuss them on the show sometime. We would love to hear from you guys. So I think that's going to do it for this podcast. Do you have any comments, concerns, anything you want to say, Marissa?
No. I just miss Disney now.
Well, that's part of it, but we've got at least another good 4 or 5 parts to this podcast, so we'll be missing it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we definitely thank you guys for sitting with us and listening to the podcast. You guys have a great afternoon, and I guess we will see you next time.